So I want to jump right in to first understanding what has made you so passionate about following Jesus. So I do my research. I love the article that I found on Substack of yours, how to help with the homelessness in our society. After you're reading your book and doing more research, I've discovered that you, like me, you're called to ring them bells. One of the callings of this ministry is to meet Jesus in the service of the marginalized, along with helping to set the record straight on so many modern misconceptions about Jesus in the Bible. Your passion for the same is evident. Tell us about where that passion came from.
Great question. Okay, so this book is a sequel to a book I did 2 years ago up there on the shelf called A God Named Josh. So essentially, basically almost everything culture thinks about Jesus is just wrong, starting with the fact that his name isn't actually Jesus. His name was Yehoshua ben Yehoseph. And so, when you're starting from that beginning place, the world is generally pretty clueless about Jesus, his politics, his economics, his philosophy. He didn't just have 12 disciples. He likely didn't work with wood. There's like so many preconceived notions about Jesus that just aren't correct. And so I did a Mythbuster on Jesus. And then I wanted to do a follow-up on the devil because there is this myth in culture that the devil is Jesus's equal but opposite, and they're locked in this arm wrestling competition. Who's going to win, Jesus or the devil? And it's not like that at all. It's more like a judo master who is using his opponent's force and strength against him to advance his purposes. And the Bible's pretty clear that God's purpose is to restore all things unto himself. His kingdom is invading. His imperium and reign is going to take over everything. And so everything the devil does ultimately actually serves to advance that purpose, which is crazy to think about. So that was the basis of this book. And I'm sure we'll dive into a lot of the myths surrounding the devil today.
Yeah, I love that. And that was there's a lot when early in my Christian faith, you hear a lot of different things. You grow up hearing, certain traits about the devil, all these things, and all this stuff about Jesus, all this stuff about the Bible. And there's so many moments now in the past, 10, 12 years of my discovery and study and going into like actually digging into these topics where I'm like, oh my gosh, wow, this is like completely the opposite of what either I was taught or just what I thought without having anything taught. So I'm so glad that you share that same passion.
And maybe just to recall, the name of Joshua, who's the key figure here in this little story, is the Hebrew name that's at the root of Jesus, of Nazareth's name.
Yeshua.
Yeah, so the longer form in Hebrew is Yehoshua.
Yehoshua.
Which is a combination of the divine name, Yahweh, and then... Yahweh, but when you take off the way at the end and then stick the short form of Yahweh on the beginning of another word, the Yah turned into Yahoo.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, it's Semitic diphthongs.
Those Semitic diphthongs.
Yeah. And then the Oshua comes from the Hebrew root Yasha or Yosha, and it's the word to deliver or to rescue. So Yahweh rescues is this guy's name. And then that got shortened both in Hebrew and then in Aramaic to Yeshua. And then Yeshua got rendered into Greek as Jesus. And then it got rendered into Latin and then Romance languages as
Jesus.
Yeah, Jesus. So actually, when you can hear that name pronounced, like in Spanish today, it's Jesus, which sounds much more like the Greek form.
Right.
Jesus to Jesus. Anyway, there you go.
Yehoshua to
Yeshua
to Jesus.
Jesus to
Jesus.
Yep.
To Jesus.
Totally. Yeah.
Wow.